And they set out from the Red Sea, and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they set out from the wilderness of Sin, and camped at Dophkah. And they set out from Dophkah, and camped at Alush. And they set out from Alush, and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. And they set out from Rephidim, and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they set out from the wilderness of Sinai, and camped at Kibroth Hattava. And they set out from Kibroth Hattava, and camped at Hazroth. And they set out from Hazroth, and camped at Rithmah. And they set out from Rithmah, and camped at Rimmon Perez. And they set out from Rimmon Perez, and camped at Libnah. And they set out from Libnah, and camped at Rissah. And they set out from Rissah, and camped at Kehelatha. And they set out from Kehelatha, and camped at Mount Shepher. And they set out from Mount Shepher, and camped at Haradah. And they set out from Haradah, and camped at Makheleth. And they set out from Makheleth, and camped at Tahath. And they set out from Tahath, and camped at Terah. And they set out from Terah, and camped at Mithkah. And they set out from Mithkah, and camped at Hashmonah. And they set out from Hashmonah, and camped at Moseroth. And they set out from Moseroth, and camped at Bnei Jakan. And they set out from Bnei Jakan, and camped at Hor Haggidgad. And they set out from Hor Haggidgad, and camped at Jobatha. And they set out from Jobatha, and camped at Abranah. And they set out from Abranah, and camped at Ezion-Geber. And they set out from Ezion-Geber, and camped in the wilderness of Zin, that is, Kadesh. And they set out from Kadesh, and camped at Mount Or, on the edge of the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went up Mount Or at the command of the Lord, and died there, in the 40th year after the people of Israel had come out of the land of Egypt, on the 1st day of the 5th month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Or. And the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in the Negeb in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the people of Israel. And they set out from Mount Or, and camped at Zalmonah. And they set out from Zalmonah, and camped at Punon. And they set out from Punon, and camped at Oboth. And they set out from Oboth, and camped at Ayi Abarim, in the territory of Moab. And they set out from Ayim, and camped at Dibon Gad. And they set out from Dibon Gad, and camped at Almon Diblathaim. And they set off from Almon Diblathaim, and camped in the mountains of Abarim before Nebo. And they set out from the mountains of Abarim, and camped in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. They camped by the Jordan, from Beth Jeshimoth as far as Abel Shittim, in the plains of Moab.